is there a similarity? You would also know between training to fight and comedy. Like it seems like is there a similarity with because with like jiu-jitsu because you're thinking moves ahead, right? And it's kind of a puzzle. And to me, comedy is always a puzzle. When I get on stage, figuring jokes out is like a puzzle. Is there any similarities that you guys have found between the two? Obviously, there's immense differences, but your approach to it or anything like that?
I think maybe the hard work and the work ethic, but like if I want to get better at jiu-jitsu, I can schedule a class with Henner at 9 a.m. and go get better at jiu-jitsu.
Right.
With comedy, I mean, you can write, but you can't. To me, you can't just sit down like every morning at 9 a.m. I'm going to sit down and write, and I'm going to come up with my material for the next show. It doesn't really work like that.
Yeah, but to me, it's
like it almost has to hit you. Like it. Yeah, like I'll get a concept. Like Bryan came to my show at Gotham, and he's never seen the show, so he watched, and I said, hey man, let me know what you think I should work on. And he was like, oh, you could fill this in here. And since that, I've been obsessed with filling that in.
Yeah. When you have a topic, and for me, like I'll set my timer, my clock for either 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and it's fun because I don't do anything but sit in a chair. And I love that because sometimes nothing happens in that 30 minutes, but sometimes something wonderful happens. So you discover something. When you sit still and you try to just focus on a question or on a topic of like my stand-up. So the hardest thing for me now is it's not so hard to make people laugh after all, right? It becomes a bag of tricks. I know how to do that. But to really combine making people laugh and talking about what I actually really care about, what I'm worried about, where I see the world going, the things that matter, that becomes very difficult.
What do you do, Josh?
Yeah, that's
like
what
everyone has their own routines.
That's what I was about to say. Like, I grew up in comedy clubs.
Yeah, I know. I saw your father's a picture and his autograph on some club.
He helped start that club. He gave Bud the money out here to start the Improv out here on Melrose. And he has pictures and all of them.
Yeah, there's another one, though. I meant to say
but I used to go there, and I had a spiral notebook, and I actually showed this notebook to Chris Titus because I used to watch him perform there. And I would write down the comic's name. This is since I was 12 years old. And Bud would just let me go in there. He didn't care. I had a lot of, different type father figures, and my mom just wanted me to get to know who my dad was. So I'd be in there late hours listening to the filthiest jokes, the filthiest comics, the nicest, the cleanest, male, female, Elaine Boozler. Like, it didn't matter, everybody. And I would write down kind of what I thought they were doing from age 12, and I think I stopped when I was like 21, 22. Once I was legally allowed to be in the clubs.
Make that a book.
Maybe one day. But that's why when you asked the question, I was confused because the two of you, and I'm very familiar with both Bryan's and Josh's work, is such a different style. I would wonder if he even approached a joke the way you do. Because you really do. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, and you'll see all the pieces, and you can put it together, the same joke, a million different ways, and still make people laugh. But I don't know a lot of guys that do that.
Well, that's why I'm always curious about what their process is.
Me too.
I'm fascinated by people. So what you do, Bryan, I couldn't do.
He's like Zen, like
I need white
sitting
noise.
in the garden and the jokes come to him.
No,
that's crazy. I love that.
The bird lands on your shoulder and whispers the joke to you. That silence I can't do. I need white noise. I need headphones. I need to be in a shower. If I really want to write a joke,
you guys are like White Spy and Black Spy. Like you guys
I
are
write in the
totally
shower
different.
sometimes too, though. Or hiking, walking,
moving.
In New York, when
I need
I'm
to
moving
move.
with
On
stuff around me.
stage is when I write the best. So on stage is when I really
just free flowing.
I go up with I really like this story. I really like, and so for me, I'm all story. Out. And I get on stage, and that's how I do it. I'll tell the story 5 times exactly how it happened. Because for me, the funniest stories and your real funny comes from the truth of the story. So what part of the story works in truth? And then I shed the truth part that doesn't work.
Were you working that out? Because like when I was talking to Joey Diaz, I think it was on his podcast or this one. I think it was on his. He was saying, man, at the Comedy Store, I can't go up there and work it anymore. He goes, because it's sold out every night. And there's like legend. If you go up there and you're trying out material, people go, fuck.
That's a really
Diaz
good
sucks,
point.
man.
Right
so
now
you gotta at the store. I think the 3 of us are there tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night,
Skyler's
8 p.m. Yeah, Skyler Stone.
Yeah.
The 3 of us are there.
Yeah.
There you go, guys.
I can't say yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyways, but he was saying like I can't go to the store anymore and try stuff out because
the road.
You're gonna follow Bill Burr, who's doing his shit. You know,
the road, right? Don't you do it on the road?
I do.
Don't you? I squeeze it in the middle, so I'll do stuff that I know is working up front and I know what works at the end. But if I need to try 20 minutes of new stuff, I'll squeeze it right in the middle.
But it's a mindset too, though, because you can get away with your bag of tricks. You can get away with writing and really getting a crowd going, especially on the road. But I guess it goes back to sort of trying to be as original as you can. Trying to be original, trying to really surprise yourself. That's
but also the guys who aren't coming up with new shit, you can tell their specials aren't on Netflix. They're not doing ticket sales well. It's very easy to tell. People who are doing the same shit, or they get lost in the shuffle because there's monsters out there.
Every tweet, and I follow a lot of comedians when guys are touring, almost everyone has a hashtag that says all new stuff. And they have to have that out there because with the internet now, it's crazy. My old man back in the day, to get better, his road dog was this great comic named Tim Thomerson. Tim even did some movies in the 80s. He was an Iron Eagle. He was the dad that like the kid has to go save. He's 15. He steals a jet and saves his dad in like Iraq. And he was the dad. He was in Cherry 3000 or Cherry 2000. He's a really cool character actor, but he's a great stand-up comic. And whether it was him or Jay Leno or a few other guys that he rolled with, they would trade sets. And my dad would say, hey, man, do my set.
I've done that.
I want to see what you bring to the table. Yeah.
Me and Dov Davidoff used to do that.
Okay, so he's not alone in that. Okay, wait. They used to do, Tim had this great.
Switch sets?
He'd say, hey, man.
How does that happen?
He'd say, do all my stuff. And Tim would go up there and just basically make fun of my dad and do his whole fucking set. And then my dad would go up and
because they've seen each other so much.
They were road dogs. Like they were like that.
I love doing that. I've done that. Me and Dov. I used to do that with Dov.
That's got to be the most surreal,
did you discover anything
coolest
from your
thing,
material?
though?
Did you discover? Or
I never think
fun?
of it that way. It's just fun. Like,
but my dad was young. You got to remember. So he was still like learning it. He was 22 when he died. So this was a very young science for him. When you're older and you've been doing this, and once you're 30 years old and you've been doing this as long as you guys have, you're not going to learn anything that you can't teach yourself, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, in your specific trade. But my dad had only been doing it for 2 years. Yeah. I mean, he was 19 years old.
That is crazy.
Performed on Johnny on The Tonight Show. And then 3 weeks later, Johnny said, hey, I want you to host it for me. I'm going on vacation. And he's still the youngest guy ever to have hosted The Tonight Show. So like for him, that was like, hey, let me see what you got. And then he would, if Tim did something better, he would take it and then put it in his ass.
But
why did you ever do stand-up, Freddie? Did you ever want to?
I don't want to stand on the same floorboards that my father did. Yeah,
I don't know if I learn new stuff, but I definitely get reminded of things that I should be. There's so many ways to do comedy, and there's so many tricks, and there's so many ways to get to a punchline. And so I've been really focused on stories. I've been telling us stories. I have a story I tell in my act that's 32 minutes long. Right?
That's so sick.
But I love it. I love taking people on the journey. Yeah. But then because of it, I started forgetting other skills that I used to have that I needed to re-implement. And I remembered it from watching D'Elia's special. You know what D'Elia does really well?
The Man on Fire one?
Yeah. You know what he does really well? He mines that joke for every punchline you're going to find. He finds every angle. He just keeps tag. And whether you think he's funny or not, that is subjective.
He's hilarious.
But I think he's hilarious. But that style of really mining, of continuing to mine and never giving up on a joke or never saying the joke is finished, because I had gotten into storytelling.
Eddie Izzard does that a lot.
Eddie Izzard's great.
Yeah, Eddie Izzard does that a ton.
I was telling you keep searching. So it's never done.
Never done.
It's so important to keep honing and to keep looking at that story, because you can find so much in it. And that's what I do. I always go back to my story and I add things. So
I think what helps me out the most, especially me, I've been doing comedy for 2 minutes, just sold out of theater. So listen, I'm stressed. I'm stressed, and this is why I have you guys here, because I need to come up with an act. No, I'm just kidding. Kidding.
He's like, I got 6 minutes.
He really
for
is.
Sure.
I got about
what you got for me?
I sent him a text today. He goes like this. He goes, what the fuck? He goes like this. He goes, what the fuck is happening? I get this text, and he goes like this. Holy Mother of God. No, he goes, sold out 2 theater shows in England and my 2 shows in Dublin in under 2 minutes. What in the fuck is happening? I go, Holy Mother of God. I have a hit podcast, a TV show, and I've been doing the road for 15 years, and I still can't fill clubs. It's amazing. I go, MMA fans. He goes, Brendan Schaub fans. And I go,
like the hairstyle.
And I go, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, he goes, don't piss me off, bro. I'll slap you. I go, congrats for y'all. This is exciting. Honestly, I'm not surprised. I told you were going to be a star. He goes, well, I'm not a star. Let's take it easy and everything else. Then I go through this other thing. I go, you got a lot of stuff going for you. And all you need now is time on stage. And he goes, well, this big dick doesn't hurt, though, too. And nothing. And then he
After
goes,
that,
nothing.
nothing.
Then I get another text. And I go, and a big dick. Nothing. Then I get, say it, bro. then nothing.
Nothing.
Then I get another. Say it. ... And I go, come on, bro. Don't get greedy.